Okay, picture this for a second. You decide you're going to turn over a new leaf. You're going to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk into a supplement store. You know the one, it smells faintly of vanilla protein powder and cardboard.
Oh, yeah. It is a very, very distinct smell.
It is. And you're standing there in the middle of the aisle just staring at a wall of vitamin C. And I mean a literal wall.
Right.
You've got the giant horse pills. You've got the gummies that look way too much like candy. You've got powders. And then tucked away on a shelf are these little glass dropper bottles of liquid.
The underdogs of the supplement world.
Exactly, the underdogs. And you look at the price. The bottle of, say, 100 tablets is $10.
Okay.
The small bottle of liquid is $20. So naturally, you do the mental math, you grab the cheap bottle of tablets, feel very fiscally responsible, and you walk away.
It seems like the rational choice. I mean, of course you would.
Right. But we've got this stack of manufacturing guides here from Superior Supplement Manufacturing. These are the folks who actually, build these products from the ground up.
The engineers behind the curtain.
And they are suggesting that grabbing those cheap pills might be a fundamental math error.
It's not just a math error. It's a biological one.
So today we are doing a deep dive into the liquid advantage. We're going to find out why the industry is, maybe not so secretly, shifting toward fluids.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to unpack the physics of why oil and water refuse to be friends and the tech that forces them to get along. And we're going to look at a number that I have to say kind of made me angry when I first read it, the absorption gap.
It's a staggering number. It really is. When you see it on paper, it completely changes the value proposition of what you're buying.
Okay, so let's not bury the lead. Lay it on us. We're talking about bioavailability.
Right.
Which is just a fancy way of saying how much of this stuff actually ends up in my blood versus how much, ends up in the toilet. Right?
Correct. That is the only metric that actually matters.
Yeah.
It's not what's on the label. It's what ends up in your cells.
So what's the number?
Okay, so according to the manufacturing data, liquid formulations, they can achieve absorption rates of 85 to 95%.
Wow. Okay, 95%. That's almost perfect efficiency.
It is. Now, compare that to traditional compressed tablets. The rock-hard pills most of us have been taking our whole lives.
Yeah.
Their absorption rate often sits at just 20 to 30%.
That's terrible. I mean, that's shockingly low.
It is incredibly low.
So let's go back to my shopping trip. If I spend $10 on that bottle of pills, am I effectively flushing $7 or $8 right down the drain?
In terms of bioactive delivery, yes. You are paying for expensive plumbing.
Why is the gap so wide? I mean, a vitamin is a vitamin. If I swallow 500 milligrams of vitamin C in a pill, why doesn't my body just take it?
It all comes down to a battle between physics and your stomach.
And the pill wins.
Well, yeah, the pill often wins by just refusing to break down. Think about how a tablet is made. It's compressed under massive pressure. It has binders, fillers, flow agents, all these things to make it a solid little rock.
A rock. So my body has to deal with a rock.
Exactly. Your body has to perform what's called a disintegration step. Your stomach acid has to literally hammer away at that pill to break it down before your body can even start thinking about absorption.
And I guess our stomachs aren't always up for that job.
Not at all. It depends on so many things. If you have low stomach acid, which is really common as we age, if you're stressed, even what you ate that day, that pill might just not fully break down before it passes the absorption window in your gut. It's a race against time.
And if it doesn't dissolve in time, the window closes.
The window closes. You miss your shot.
Whereas the liquid
is, well, it's cheating. It's pre-dissolved. The active ingredients are already in solution.
So it's ready to go.
It's ready to go from the second it hits your mouth. Absorption starts right there in the oral mucosa, under your tongue, before it even gets to your stomach.
So it just skips the whole demolition phase.
Completely. It's the difference between trying to digest a steak and drinking a protein shake. One takes hours of work, the other is instant access.
That makes so much sense. But the guides mention another reason for this shift, something they called consumer compliance.
Right. Which is basically corporate speak for getting people to actually take their supplements.
And that's a problem.
It's a huge problem. The data shows that up to 40% of adults have trouble swallowing pills.
I 100% believe that. I have a bottle of multivitamins in my cabinet right now, and they are the size of the end of my thumb. I look at them in the morning and just, ugh.
That's pill fatigue. Yeah. It's a real thing. You have good intentions, you take it for 3 days, you get tired of that choking feeling.
And it becomes a museum piece in the back of a cabinet?
Precisely. Liquids solve that. But there was another point on flexible dosing that I found fascinating.
Yeah, let's get into that, because we usually just think one pill. That's it.
Right. A pill is a binary choice. You take the 500 milligrams or you don't. I mean, have you ever tried to split a tiny hard tablet?
Oh, it's a disaster. It shatters. You get dust everywhere, and one half is way bigger.
Exactly. And you don't even know if you got half the vitamin or just half the filler. With the liquid, you can titrate the dose.
Titrate.
You can measure it precisely. A doctor can say, I need you to take exactly 2.5 milliliters based on your body weight. That's crucial for kids and for seniors. You just can't do that with solids.
Okay, so if liquids are absorbed better, easier to take, and more precise, why aren't we just drinking everything? Why does the pill aisle even exist anymore?
Well, that is where we get into the kitchen nightmares.
Kitchen nightmares? Is it really that bad?
It's a chemistry minefield. The guides from Superior really emphasize this. See, when ingredients are in a dry powder, they're inert, they're sleeping.
Okay.
The moment you add water, they wake up and they get very active. They want to react with each other. They want to oxidize. They want to grow bacteria. It's like a party that gets out of hand really fast.
Right. I saw the section on stability. It's like the difference between a cracker and a glass of milk.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And it gets even more complicated with the oil versus water problem. Think about vitamins D, E, omega-3s. These are all fat soluble.
And oil and water don't mix. Third grade science.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
If you just pour fish oil into water and shake it, it separates instantly. The oil floats right to the top.
And that's where oxygen gets to it.
That's the enemy. Oxygen. Yeah. That's what causes oxidation. That's what makes fish oil go rancid and gives you that awful fishy burp taste.
So how do they stop that?
The process requires something called nitrogen blanketing.
Nitrogen blanketing? That sounds like something from a space mission.
Kind of does. It's very clever chemistry. Before they cap the bottle, they pump nitrogen gas into the tanks. Nitrogen is heavier than air, so it sinks and pushes all the oxygen out. It creates a protective blanket on top of the liquid.
So it suffocates the oil to save it?
In a way, yes. It seals it off from the atmosphere inside the bottle. That's how you get a liquid omega-3 that stays fresh.
The guide also broke down tinctures versus extracts. Tincture feels like a word from an old Western movie.
It's a very traditional method, but it's still the gold standard for some things. Tinctures are almost always alcohol-based. They use ethanol, anywhere from 25 to 90%.
Why so much alcohol? Is it just a preservative?
No, it's a solvent. Alcohol is incredibly good at stripping the active compounds, the alkaloids and resins, out of plant fiber. It just pulls everything out.
But not everyone wants to be taking shots of ethanol with breakfast.
No, it burns. And it's alcohol. So you can't give it to kids or people in recovery or for certain religious diets.
So the alternative is, I see glycerin on labels a lot.
Glycerin is the modern answer. It's a sweet, syrupy liquid from vegetable fats. It's a much gentler solvent, but it preserves the liquid and, crucially, it tastes good.
Speaking of taste, we have to talk about palatability. The guide mentioned foul-smelling ingredients.
Yes, the elephant in the room. Vitamins taste bad. B vitamins. They can smell like rotten eggs. Minerals taste like you're licking a penny.
Right. In a pill, you just swallow it. You don't have to taste the payload.
But in a liquid, there's nowhere to hide. So manufacturers had to be part chemist, part chef. They use flavor masking technologies.
Is that just a fancy word for adding sugar?
Sometimes. But the really advanced method is microencapsulation.
Microencapsulation. Break that down for me.
Okay, imagine taking a microscopic particle of a bitter vitamin, like zinc, and coating it in a tiny atomic-level shell of protein or carbohydrate.
So like a candy coating, but invisible.
Exactly. When you drink it, your tongue only touches the sweet or neutral shell. The bitter zinc is locked inside until it hits your stomach acid.
You're tricking your own tongue.
You're completely tricking your tongue. It lets you make a liquid multivitamin that actually tastes like orange juice instead of a chemical spill.
This is a perfect lead-in to the next section, which was honestly my favorite part. Advanced delivery technologies. We are leaving the kitchen now and entering the sci-fi lab.
This is where things get really exciting. This is the difference between just juice and actual technology.
First up, liposomal technology. I see this buzzword everywhere now. Liposomal vitamin C, liposomal this, liposome that. What is a liposome?
A liposome is a microscopic bubble, and the wall of that bubble is made of something called a phospholipid bilayer.
Which is what exactly?
That's the exact same material that your own cell membranes are made of. It's a fat bubble that basically mimics your body's own biology.
So it's camouflage.
It is a Trojan horse, a friendly one. You put the nutrient-like vitamin C inside this little fat bubble.
Okay.
When you swallow it, two things happen. First, the bubble protects the nutrient from being destroyed by stomach acid.
Like shield.
Exactly. But the real magic happens in your intestines. Because the bubble looks just like your own cells. Your cell membranes fuse with it. They welcome it in.
So the cell literally opens the door for it.
It opens the door, and the liposome drops the payload directly inside the cell. The source material says this can improve absorption by 5 to 10 times compared to standard versions.
Not 5 to 10%, 5 to 10 times.
We're talking about a totally different magnitude of effect. It's the only way to effectively take certain things, like glutathione, orally.
That's wild. And then there was nanoemulsion. That sounds like something from an Iron Man suit.
It's all about size. Remember we said oil and water separate?
Right.
Nanoemulsion uses high-tech equipment to blast oil droplets into particles that are only 20 to 200 nanometers wide.
I can't even picture how small that is.
It's so small that the rules of gravity basically stop applying to them in the same way. They don't float. They stay perfectly suspended in water.
Which lets you mix something like CBD oil into a clear drink.
Exactly. And it hugely helps absorption. The smaller the particle, the more surface area, and your body can just absorb it almost instantly.
Incredible. It's amazing that a little dropper bottle can have that much engineering in it.
It really challenges the whole idea that natural means low-tech. To get these ingredients to work, we're using some very cutting-edge physics.
So let's shift gears. Say I'm listening and I want to launch my own deep dive brain tonic. The guide from Superior lays out the logistics, and it sounded intense.
It is not a hobby, no. Yeah. You are not brewing this in your garage.
The first hurdle is the scale. They talk about MOQs, minimum order quantities. What are we talking about number-wise?
For a standard 2-ounce dropper bottle, you're looking at a production run of 2,500 units, minimum. If you're doing bulk, it's 500 gallons.
Whoa! Okay, so that's not something you sell at the local farmer's market.
Not at all. And the timeline. For a first-time production, you're looking at about 8 weeks.
2 months. Why so long?
Well, manufacturing itself is actually the fast part. It's the sourcing and the testing. That's all the invisible work. You have to get the raw materials, and then you have to verify them.
What does that mean, verify them?
So a drum of white powder labeled vitamin C arrives. How do you know it's not just baking soda? Or worse, contaminated?
Right.
You have to run it through tests to verify its chemical fingerprint. You have to test for heavy metals, lead, arsenic, mercury, because plants will soak up whatever's in the soil.
And a good manufacturer will test every single barrel.
Every single barrel. If it fails, it gets rejected. That all takes time.
And then the mixing itself happens in a clean room.
Oh, absolutely. This is critical. In a dry pill, bacteria can't really grow. But a liquid vitamin, it's wet, it's often sweet. It's a petri dish if you aren't careful.
So the hygiene has to be pharmaceutical grade.
It has to be. Staff in full gowns, filtered air, the whole thing. And the quality control at the end.
I saw that. Plus or minus 5%.
That's the margin. Yep. If the label says 1,000 milligrams, it has to be within 5% of that in every single bottle.
There was one other logistical point I found fascinating. Seasonality?
Oh, yeah. The cold and flu rush.
Apparently, if you want to sell an elderberry syrup in November, you can't start making it in October.
If you wait until October, you are way too late. Because every other brand on the planet is also trying to buy elderberry and zinc in October.
The raw materials just disappear.
The supply chain dries up. Smart brands plan their winter lines in, like, June. They secure the ingredients before the rush even starts.
So let's zoom out. Where is all this going? The source projects the liquid market hitting almost $29 billion by 2030. What's driving that?
It's the diversity of applications. It's not just multivitamins anymore. Look at functional beverages.
Like those little energy shots at the gas station checkout.
Exactly. That's liquid supplement manufacturing. Or immune support shots. People want function on the go.
Yeah.
They don't want to carry a pill case to the gym.
It's convenience.
It's convenience and speed. But there was another category in the report that surprised me. Topicals.
Yeah, that confused me. I thought we were talking about things you drink.
Well, the manufacturing tech is very similar. But think about the application. We're seeing a rise in transdermal supplements. Things like magnesium sprays.
Wait, you spray magnesium on your skin?
Yes. Magnesium is huge for sleep and muscle recovery. But a magnesium pill can be, let's just say, it can accelerate your digestion.
Causes an upset stomach.
To put it mildly. By applying it as a liquid serum to the skin, you bypass the digestive system entirely. It absorbs right into the bloodstream.
So the liquid advantage isn't just about drinking it.
It's about getting it into the body by any means necessary and doing it cleanly. The other big trend is clean label.
What does that mean?
It means people are reading the ingredients. They don't want artificial dyes. They don't want sodium benzoate. They want natural preservatives.
Which goes back to the chemistry challenge.
It does. It forces manufacturers to be smarter.
So let's bring it all back home. For the person listening, standing in that aisle we talked about, holding the $10 pills and the $20 liquid.
The decision shouldn't be about the price tag. It should be about the price per absorbed milligram.
Oh, I like that metric.
If you buy the $10 pills and only absorb 20%, you're really only getting $2 worth of vitamins.
While the $20 liquid.
With 95% absorption. That $20 liquid might be delivering $19 worth of actual nutrition into your blood.
So the expensive option is actually the more cost-effective one.
In terms of results, absolutely. It's a classic case of you get what you pay for.
That is a really powerful way to frame it.
It is. And for you, I would say, go home and really look at your medicine cabinet. If you have bottles of pills that you dread taking or that give you a stomachache, are they really an investment in your health?
Or are you just paying for expensive urine?
It's the classic joke, but it's true. If it passes right through you, it's just expensive plumbing.
So next time you're in that aisle, maybe give the liquid a second look. It might be the upgrade your body has actually been waiting for.
And don't be afraid of the technology. That liposome or nanoemulsion isn't scary. It's just a smarter way to get nature into your cells.
Smarter nature. I like it. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the fluid world of manufacturing. We hope you'll never look at a dropper bottle the same way again.
Stay healthy.
And as always, stay curious. See you next time.